Hello, my name is Amelia, and this is the Taos group's developmental stages of adolescence final project. So to begin, we're going to discuss the stages of adolescence. In the first stage, it's going to be known as the early stage, and it's roughly the ages of 10 to 13 years old. In the first stage, one thing that happens are growth spurts. Usually in girls, it happens around ages 8 to 13, so I guess 10 to 13. And then for boys, it usually happens around 10 to 15, or I guess 10 to 13 in this case. And what also happens is adolescents want more privacy, usually in their rooms or even on social media, probably just time for them to explore themselves. And then something else that happens are physical body changes such as hair or reproduction development. Another thing that happens is they question gender identity. This may lead to behavior or dress, like their wardrobe, according to how they identify themselves. And another thing that happens is they have a black and white way of thinking. Usually this is because they haven't had a chance for complex thinking yet.
Hello, my name is Marvin Guterres, and I'm going to be talking about the developmental stages of adolescence in the middle area of the development. Roughly, it's going to be around 14 to 17-year-olds in that stage of adolescence. They're going to have more interest in relationships and their sexuality. They're going to be exploring if they like boys, they like girls, they like the opposite gender, they like the same gender, and they'll start exploring more with that with other people. Around this time as well, they're going to start having more arguments with parents. They want to stay out later with their friends. The parents say no, or they're going to want to go do things that the parents don't agree with, like going to concerts or going to parties, stuff like that. They're also going to be making more impulsive decisions based also off these arguments with their parents. They could make impulsive buys. They're starting to get money now, getting jobs. They're going to make more impulsive decisions of buying stuff. Um, in addition to that, with them growing up in this middle ground of age, they're going to start thinking abstractly. They're going to start thinking outside the box. They'll also become more independent when thinking outside the box and be more abstract. That way, they're learning responsibility and different ways to handle different problems. In addition to this, with this being around the high school age, this is also going to play a critical role in for depression and sadness to increase due to them trying to fit in with their group or trying to fit in with a social group, anything like that, trying to find friends. Bullying also happens during middle school as well if they don't fit in right, according to the bulliers. So that's also a critical time around what will happen in that age range. In addition, they're going to start spending more time with their friends than so much their family members just because they start developing these friends during high school. They start wanting to hang out with more of each other, start getting along better. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Brianna Hernandez, and I'm going to discuss the last developmental stage of adolescence. This is the stage that I personally think has the most development occurring. This is the age that you become an adult and become more independent. You tend to fight less with your parents because you grow a stronger bond with them because you can relate more to them as the older you get. Risks and rewards are better managed due to us having more knowledge and being able to think things out better and being able to think them more thoroughly. We build stronger relationships not only with our parents but with our family members as well because we have increased our maturity levels at this age and can relate more to the older people in our families. This is the time in our lives where big decisions are made, like where we're going to go to college or what job career we want to pursue. And this is also the time of our lives where our intimate relationships can develop more seriously. And this might be the time where you decide to move out and become more independent and pretty much build a life on your own without your parents. This age group, 18 through 21, is some of the most crucial years of our lives. This is the time that individuals become more independent and start creating their own opinions and views of the world. And this is the time that defines our lives forever, is how I see it. And it determines who we, or we find out who we want to be and who we are.
Hello, my name is Marcos Lujan, and these next four slides I'm going to talk about Erikson's psychosocial developmental theory and Vygotsky's social cultural theory. So, a little information about Erikson's psychosocial developmental theory is during adolescence, children are supposed to develop social relationships and develop fidelity. So, what fidelity means is they start worshiping like a certain religion and start believing something and holding that accountable to them. Also, adolescents during their teenage years are expected to develop personal identities and a strong sense of independence. So what that means is they're like start to become their own person, liking their own things, and yeah, just becoming their own person basically. And they're relying less on their parents and relying more on themselves. According to Erikson, this is important to develop an ego identity. An ego identity is the conscious sense of self that we develop through social interaction. It becomes a central focus during the identity versus confusion stage of psychosocial development. So that means like basically in simpler terms, that means like how we perceive the world through our own eyes and how we interpret that. So according to sorry if I keep pronouncing this wrong, but Vygotsky's social cultural theory talks about sexual maturation and desires. He argued that learning is necessary and a universal aspect of the process of developing culturally organized, specifically human psychological function, which basically means that social learning helps the development of the adolescent. So like learning together, like kind of what we're doing now, like doing group projects together and working more in groups. He also developed the zone of proximal distance, which shows how a child develops with and without like working in groups. So it shows how a child works when they're working in like a group of two or three compared to a child just working on its own. And it showed that childs when they work in groups will actually work more efficiently and get things done faster. He believed that children learn first through social interactions and then how they incorporate it in their brain. So some similarities between the two is they're both similar in the idea that during adolescence, adolescents develop a sense of self-identity, like becoming their own person, becoming more aware of things around them. They both agree that with proper parenting and encouraging instructors, the child will go on to succeed in their adulthood and like just and live better off altogether because it also showed that when children just try to do things on their own and don't have friends or family to support them, then they struggle more. So there's mainly when I was like do looking up information about this, there was mostly more differences than similarities. So Erickson developed ego identity, which is different compared to Vygotsky's zone of proximal distance. Ego identity focuses on how an adolescent perceives the world and what they learn from it, while Vygotsky's zone of proximal distance, uh, like describes how adolescents learn with guidance and compared to children without guidance. It was basically like Vygotsky would study children and see how they would do without instructors, with instructors, and then without instructors. Vygotsky also mainly focused on language, how children learn how to speak to one another and how they speak to their elders. Erikson mainly focused on how an adolescent learns from their own eyes. They both differ from each other because Vygotsky mainly focuses on how adolescents learn together, while Erikson describes how children learn together but also how they learn on their own. Thank you.